Okay, Julie, you're here.
It went so much better than I even could have imagined.
Can you
So,
walk me through it? What
yeah,
happened?
yeah, I have to thank you for giving me excellent advice. So once again, he came in late and I was like, well, now in front of the class is not the time
Right,
to
right.
talk about this. So I took a deep breath and kept my cool and kept talking, and we got through class. And then at the end of class, when everyone was getting up and gathering their stuff to leave, I just asked him to come over and talk to me. And I started with a gift, like you said. I told him, you are such a good student, and I really appreciate how much you participate in class. And then I segued right into, so it would really be a shame if I had to take points off your grade every single time you're late, because we have this policy that I have to adhere to. If you stop adhering to it, then it's going to be hard for you to earn a good grade in this course.
Yeah.
Um, and then I went on, and he was like, well, and he thanked me for giving him a compliment for starting with the gift.
Nice.
And he smiled. And so I think that really did, like, I think he was mostly relieved that he wasn't in trouble.
Right.
But then, yeah. So, and then when I explained what happened, I followed it up by telling him that it's not that there's nothing he's doing other than being late that's disruptive.
Mm-hmm.
But by just coming in after I've gained momentum with the class,
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard for me to stop and then get started again and recapture everyone's attention.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it exactly the way you
No,
told
but
me, but I did it.
you did though. You just said it in your own words. It's not
Right.
about saying my words exactly. It's about getting the gist of it. And basically
Mhm.
what you shared with him in that moment, if I can point it out, is that his behavior has a ripple effect. A
Mhm.
lot of times people think that what they're doing is really only about them. I'm the person who's late. I'm going to miss some information. It's me that suffers from being
Right.
late. I'm not really hurting anybody else. I'm really only hurting myself.
Yeah. Especially when they're like, oh, but I'm so quiet.
Right.
And I just come in and I sit right down and
Yeah.
nobody notices. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but
everybody notices.
right? And sort of having that pointed out, I
Right,
think sometimes is helpful. No, I think that went perfectly. You followed the order
Yeah.
of things, and you said it in your own words, which you should always be.
Right.
When I give conflict scripting information, it's more about where are you coming from and what place you're going to come from than saying the exact
Right,
words,
yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Just what framework are you going to use?
Mhm.
Speaking of that, I was giving some thought about if you had chosen the other option, right? If you had said you really wanted to remove him from the class, and how that might have gone down. And maybe for anybody watching, I can advise you on what I would have told you if that's what you wanted.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So if you wanted him out of the class, right, then what are your goals when you talk to him about that?
Well, to remove someone from a class, it's usually a much more egregious error, right? Like
Right.
they've said something that is offensive or hurtful to someone else in the class. And you don't want to argue. You just want the problem removed.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So let's say in this case,
Mhm.
it
So
disrupted class so much, and they did it so regularly, and then they didn't add anything to the quality of the class,
yeah.
and you wanted to remove them. What steps do you think you might take, or what wording? It's hard, right?
It
Because
is.
it's really, we already want to scold when we like the student, right? So when we don't like the student,
Well, I think it would be more of the same. But rather than saying, so you really need to make more of an effort to come on time, I would probably say something more along the lines of, if this happens one more time, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the class.
and there it is. You left the door open for them, right?
I don't know if you're saying that as a gotcha or
It's
that's
a
a good
little
thing.
bit. It's a little bit of a gotcha,
Yeah.
not to, but it's very common, right? We
You
string
give
it
them
out,
one more chance,
right? We
right?
string it out because we don't want it to be our fault that they're leaving. We want to be sure it's their fault, right?
Right. Well, also, if you don't, it'll always come back as well. She never even told me I was doing anything
Right.
wrong.
Right.
So how was I supposed to know?
That is a perfect point, right? Which is
Mhm.
why you go on all of the stuff that's been put into place before that, so that you don't have to. You make sure that that is laid out.
Right.
So if I was, guiding you towards this situation, the gift comes at the end, not at the beginning. Because I'm not necessarily trying to change their behavior. I'm trying to remove them. And I want it to be as seamless and as kind as possible in the end. So I'm going to leave them with a gift. So I would have said to the student, I just need to point out to you on your syllabus that is available to you online, and we give a hard copy or however it is that
Right.
you distributed it. On the syllabus, it is clearly stated that this is the attendance policy and that these are the consequences, right? And as laid out by the school, not just by me, but by the school. So you can find this in the student handbook. If you go to the dean's office and ask about the policy, it will be explained to you just as it is right here. And you have access to this. Now that we've acknowledged that you have access to this, I'm going to point out that you have not adhered to it. And you've been late and have a number, how many times, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you cannot pass the class at this point, or it would be very unlikely for you to pass the class because the participation grade is 50%, and maybe point to any work that you already have grades for, that make you think that he's not going to pass, right? Because we've already established that in the first conversation that if he doesn't stop being late, he's not going to pass. He doesn't, yeah. So you would explain that to him. It seems unlikely that you would pass. So I'm going to ask you to remove yourself from the class, and I'm going to invite you to come back and take it again a different semester when you're in a place where you can focus, and I know you can do the amazing work that you're capable of.
Yeah, there's not much he can argue with.
I've left him almost nothing to argue with, right? I mean, he can refuse and he can fail, right? I could possibly put in, if he does refuse to leave the class, I could put in a new criteria that the door is locked after the time and nobody is allowed to come in. In my use of professor, I was like famous for that. That was my policy.
Yeah, we can't lock the doors for safety reasons.
Well, I don't mean literally lock the door. I mean that nobody was allowed to come in after class started. It was I closed the door, and if the door is closed, you can't come in. If the door is open, you can. So it's metaphorically locked, right? So and not every teacher has that in them to do, right? And that's okay. But you've left him almost nothing to argue with, and you have left him with a compliment, not an insult. I know you can do better work than this. Let's try it in a different semester.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't like you.
Right.
It's behavioral.
Yes. Yes. So the gift comes at the end.
Okay.
So if that was what I was doing. But I'm so glad that it went the way you wanted it to go, and hopefully he's going to be on time.
Yeah, he was today.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right.
So he did today. We'll see if it keeps up. But I think
proof will be in the pudding.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it worked. So I have to thank you again for your excellent advice.
You're so welcome. Thanks for coming to me.
Oh, okay.
All right.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.